Hello and welcome to True Crime Diary, a light-hearted podcast on a serious subject. Every 2 weeks we look back through true crime stories to discuss an event that took place on this week in history. I'm your host Mark Decana, and with me as always are my friends Jed Lester.
Hello.
And Rue Turner.
Hello.
So the date we're looking at this episode is the 28th of November, and in the year 1600, one of the most famous painters in Italy then and now was arrested for beating a houseguest with a club. Just one of his many violent actions that went up to and including murder.
And he is?
Michelangelo.
That's not my name.
Michelangelo Merisi de Caravaggio.
Oh, that's Michelangelo.
He's Caravaggio is the name of the town. He's Michelangelo of Caravaggio.
Oh.
So
you'd be Witten.
Yeah.
the great painter Witten.
Rue of Witten.
No, Witten.
Rue von Witten, surely.
Yeah.
Given previous episode revelations.
He isn't known for being a rotter.
No, he's known for being a painter.
Yeah. 100%, I would say.
Sometimes I paint.
So, as our resident art expert, yes. What is
Caravaggio?
Good?
Well, it was sort of... if you take the bad boy bit away and just look at him as an artist,
Yes.
he was probably most well known for his use of chiaroscuro, which is a technique of... I suppose these days you just look at it as being HDR. I mean, he'd really pushed the limits of black and white, so really high contrast paintings.
He would, yeah. He didn't do... whenever I look at his stuff, I always think, why is it never cloudy when he's doing painting? Because it's always the sharpest beams of sunlight coming through a big window.
Yeah.
And anyone who isn't in the light is in the absolute black.
Is in total black, yeah. You're either caught in the light or not.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I always think of beheaded people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of paintings of people's heads, and often the heads were his.
Well, hang on. Did he do it? Is that what you're going to say?
No.
Well, he was known for carrying a sword around.
I think that everyone had a sword.
Yes,
At the
that's
time.
right. Yeah,
this was 1600. Everyone had a sword.
But his was unlicensed.
Any rule to break.
Yeah.
That would be hilarious. You find out, not hilarious, find out that his masterpieces are just depictions of his murders.
Well, often the heads in the paintings were his head. They were self-portraits.
Right. Were they always bearded men?
Bearded, crazy-eyed.
Right. Yeah. So he was a rotter.
He was a rotter, yeah.
Was he a known rotter? Was he one of these classic? He's all right. It turns out not very nice.
Well, he wasn't known as the kind of quiet guy who kept himself to himself. He was later discovered as to being
that.
No, wasn't that guy. He was quite the opposite.
Yeah,
he was very well known for all of his badness was out in the open.
He was
publicly.
He was loud and drunken and brawly and
constantly being arrested for brawling.
Really?
And for
Well, if anybody asks for me, I'm painting the town, and when I'm painting the town, I'm painting the town.
Yeah.
Was he a famous painter at that time?
Yeah.
Or was he just a mad bloke who did a bit of painting on the side?
Lots of commissions for popes and royalty.
Right, okay. So he was full on fame.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was huge at the time.
Right.
Huge.
We've made you the most famous painter alive.
And I'm going to make this comparison. That's incomparable, but I will make it anyway. I always compare him to the way I think of Byron, who was famously described as mad, bad, and dangerous to know.
Yeah.
He is to poetry as Caravaggio is to painting. It's like, if Byron is the Clash of his age, then Caravaggio is like the Sex Pistols.
Right.
Lots of shouting
for sure.
and spitting and this sort of thing.
Well, I would still say that his legacy is not that.
Completely.
At all. Whereas Rolf Harris's might... I don't know. How long ago was this? 400 years ago. In 400 years' time, are we all going to be going, what's it called? Styrofoam.
Styrofoam. It's a very different instrument.
Didgeridoo.
Yeah.
Timey Kangaroo, Dow's
Wobble board.
And that. Nothing else.
Yeah.
I mean, don't know.
Well, yeah, probably. Quite right too.
Because he had loads of really powerful mates. Popes,
Who are we talking about now?
Caravaggio. Although, Rolf Harris could fall into that category.
Good, yeah.
He used to get away with,
right, okay.
a lot
In
of
a
stuff.
classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'd just chat to a mate and he'd be out, or
yeah, of course.
suddenly the problem would go away. Even though he was arrested a lot and put in prison a couple of times.
Right, okay. So do we think his, shall we call it, rock star status at the time, do you think he's any good?
No, I am a genius.
Undoubtedly.
Right,
Absolutely one of the finest painters ever.
You would have been wooed by his talent as opposed to him beating you up because whatever, you were in his way or whatever.
Yeah, I'd never play cards with the man.
Yeah, or tennis.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so he's mega.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah. My only thing is you never do anything when it's cloudy, do you? Do you, mate? But yes, no, use of light is outstanding. But anyway, yes, go on then. Give us the list of naughtiness.
Well, the thing is, he was born of poverty.
Right.
But he went into training under Simone Peterzano. So he was like an apprentice to Peterzano. He was quite a well-known, well-established artist. But in 1592, after doing training with this guy, he had to flee Venice because of, in very large inverted commas, quarrelling.
Okay.
Getting
starting
into fights.
then, basically.
Yeah.
If you have to flee a city because of arguments you're getting into, it's...
I can understand not going to a certain restaurant again. Fleeing a city.
Having to flee the city, yeah. And this is something that comes up a lot, actually, is fleeing.
It's a few steps up from getting barred from a pub, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I flee.
So he fled from Venice and he would have arrived then in Rome.
Right.
Being a poor painter, he hung out with other poor painters.
Yeah.
And he would hang out with Giuseppe Cesari, who was the Pope's favourite painter.
Yep.
And he would hang out with him in his workshop painting fruit.
Right.
As a apprentice to him.
In really sharp shadow.
Yeah, sharp shadow. Dark
Only
fruits.
when it's a sunny day.
He only did dark fruits, blackberries.
Yeah. Half in the light.
But this is turn of the 16th century, and you're in Rome, and there's churches on every street corner, and they all want paintings everywhere. Loads of religious adornment for the palaces and the cathedrals. Every one of the nobles, all the big knobs in Italy, are building more bigger and more ornate homes.
And want to fill it full of stuff.
Fill it with loads of paintings. And obviously all the churches, cathedrals, and the Pope Clement VIII, wanted lots of religious iconography.
People like a nice picture with a nice thing in.
And there's the rise of Protestantism, so they want lots and lots of more Catholic.
Oh, right. They're obviously not into the rise of...
They're not happy with the rise of Protestantism.
So therefore they want to visualise... I don't know, I can visualise Catholicism, but whatever that is, they want to.
Yeah, the Baroque.
Yeah, very powerful images they're looking for. Like I said, in his later paintings, he did all these, like the head of John the Baptist, lots of head pictures. But all of these ones.
That was his head.
There were lots of dramatic religious scenes to promote the awesome power of God. So by the time you get to the end of the century, so 1599, Caravaggio was asked to decorate the Contarelli Chapel in the Church of San Luigi de' Franceschi, and he paints the martyrdom of St. Matthew and the calling of St. Matthew, and they were sensational.
Really?
Yeah.
Are we talking fresco ceiling stuff or just a painting?
It's just a painting, but massive.
Right.
Great big paintings, huge walls.
So would it have been queues around the block kind of thing?
Well, yeah, arguably, yeah. Put it this way, everyone was clamouring to get him to paint works.
And subsequently, does that mean that there's your new captive audience of, if you like that, come and join our Catholic club?
Yeah.
Meaning, do you know what I mean? Marketing of...
Well, he's physically driving people into the church
that's
because that's where the art's hanging out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's drawing a crowd to see the art, and while they're in there, they say, probably should cross myself and confess something.
Have a bit of God while you're at it.
Right, yeah, okay.
Put a couple of sesterti or whatever it is in the jar.
Strogna. Yeah.
Half a denari.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's exactly what would have happened. There would have new sign-ups. Is that a thing? New sign-ups. People going, actually, do you know what? I should probably come here more often.
Yeah.
Donations.
Yeah.
Sunday club. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I have, isn't it? Sunday club. Yeah. So yes, so that's the sort of point at which he's like gets all this big patronage, and everyone's going, oh, and all these big mates who are going to get him out of shtuck.
And would something like that?
I'll get you out of prison, and you come and do a painting for me.
Yeah.
Oh right. So, well, I was going to say, would
paint
it
somebody's head?
Would it be? Would he earn out of it, or would he just get off naughty things?
He would have earned decent money.
He would have.
But he would have called in a lot
Spent
of
it.
money.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Right.
A lot of drinking.
A lot of drinking.
Yes. So he's doing a lot of ecclesiastic work, you know.
Perhaps Mr. Pope would be able to buy one. Won't it do your heart good to think of one of your precious paintings in Mr. Pope's hands?
Do you know the painting Doubting Thomas?
Probably.
It's one where he's actually putting his finger into the wound.
No, right, yeah.
And it's quite famous because they're like going, what are you doing? You can't paint that. What was he prodding?
At the time.
Prodding his wound. Also, you'll notice in the picture that the listeners can't see is that the leg is covered up, whereas he has a naked thigh in the non-Catholic version.
Why would that be more skin-based?
Less modest, more intriguing.
Well, yeah, all right.
So they like to put in a little bit of arm and a bit of leg, but then they said, nope.
Yeah.
Bare legs.
I'm going to ask the question, what drove him to be horrible? Because you've just said, oh, he got into fights.
Well, like I say,
there's no basis of I don't know. As a child, he got.
He was just a dick.
Right. Oh, okay. But I mean, was he I don't know, an abandoned orphan, or he was? His parents were horrible to him.
Yeah. There's no really.
There's no basis at all.
There's not much record either. I mean,
really?
Yeah, because he never wrote anything down anyway, so we don't really know anything.
Painted it.
Yeah,
painted it down.
Right. Oh, okay. So I mean, that's even more ridiculous. Because I thought you'd then say, but it all started when he was 7 and he witnessed a murder or something.
When he had his apprenticeship.
Yes.
Then he basically was getting into fights then. He would have been pretty young.
He used a lot of lead white in his paintings. So it's perfectly possible that his awful temper and mental state was partly to blame to lead poisoning from many years
of just being
of exposure to lead. Yeah.
So he was born in 1571, and so by the time he made his 20s, he was in fights with people. But it's not much.
Fights.
He's getting into fights. There's not a lot of record before.
For some reason, I probably because of what he depicts when he paints. This is literally exactly the time of Henry VIII, but I think of Caravaggio as 500 years earlier kind of thing. But it's nothing to do with the time. It's what he did, or arguably 1500 years earlier. What he depicts were more of that time, really, wasn't it? As opposed to pictures of I don't know, people in ruffs. Holding dogs in the distance, rolling hills, a horse just standing there. What else?
Wildly out of proportion horse.
Yeah, what do you call it? A water wheel somewhere, attached to a house. Yeah. That kind of thing. But they were the same era.
Yes.
Did he ever come to England?
No,
I don't think
not at all.
No.
He was in the whole central Italy area most of the time.
Italy, Milan, Naples, Rome.
So far, we're just in fights.
Was in fights?
Yeah, leave him alone. He's a good painter. Leave him alone.
Yeah.
Let him get on with it.
Yeah.
Okay, he's got a hot temper. Okay, he smashed up a pizza restaurant the other day. But we'll deal with it because he's a good painter.
Yeah, arguably. Yeah. Basically, yeah. But he did flee.
Oh yeah, he
has ended up in Rome. He has done a flea.
So many favours your mates can do for you.
So he finds himself in Rome.
Okay, yeah.
Having had it in sort of Venice a reputation for brawling. it is claimed that at one point he committed a murder at that point. But that's not the only time he's accused of murder.
Right.
So on the 28th of November, we're now in 1600, he was staying with Cardinal de Monte, who was a patron of his.
You figure on doing a little painting?
And a Girolamo Stampa de Montepulciano. Very nice wine.
I'll say excellently done there.
Is that a man?
That's a man. He's a nobleman. He's staying with the Cardinal as a house guest.
Oh, yeah.
And Caravaggio got into a fight with him and beat him with a club to such an extent that the authorities were called. And he was arrested and jailed at Tordinone, which was a prison keep.
Mm-hmm.
He became quite a regular house guest there.
Okay.
So his fights became more violent and more frequent from then on.
Really?
Yeah. He was there for a few months and then he got out in 1601. And it was a couple of years before he was arrested again. He's been cautioned for brawling. He gets arrested.
Caution? Did they have cautions? They probably did. They probably did, didn't they? Maybe. Michael, they said.
Calma.
Yeah.
But he keeps getting arrested for things like having a sword without a license, illegal possession of weapons.
Sword without a license.
For insulting city guards.
Oh, yeah.
For throwing a plate of artichokes in the face of a waiter at a tavern. And all sorts of...
See, this is what I'm saying about the old school Venice stuff that was just admittedly added up, but it's just kind of low level. A sword without a license. I mean,
throwing a plate of artichokes. That's like something out of Monty Python.
But things were getting worse. Ultimately, bad things were creeping in.
There's a contemporary account from about 1604 relating to having seen him a few years earlier, and it says, after a fortnight's work, he'll swagger about for a month or two with a sword at his side and a servant following him, from one ball court to the next, ever ready to engage in a fight or an argument, so it's most awkward to get along with him.
It is.
My interests lie with paintings and wine.
I think it's one of those people who is undoubtedly a genius and probably the smartest guy in the room most of the time, but doesn't have the wealth or connection, like really, to kind of live that. So he spends his life in between, if you'll excuse me, in between sex workers and popes.
Yeah.
Almost literally.
I think I'm that.
Some sort of middle ground.
Not really being able to stand on his own feet, not really having his own established position within that. Just
I don't know, really. Either that or he's
living off the money of a pope and spending it on prostitutes and beer,
Yeah, quite.
Either that or he's just high on his own fame, really.
Oh, yeah.
I'm bloody Caravaggio, mate.
You know who I am?
I was having dinner with a pope yesterday.
And then looking down.
Give us a wee brush.
I'll show you. What do you want? A wildebeest? Yeah, here we go. Wildebeest. Knock that out anytime.
Really good with heads. Draw me own head. Look, draw me own head. Don't even look.
I like to think about my head.
Boy, could he draw? I mean.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Boy, could he draw.
That's what I used to say.
Caravaggio. Boy, could he draw.
Like Caravaggio. Boy, let me tell you.
Hang off. Oh, boy, could he paint.
You do have to knock up some colours.
The ego of being hanging out with important people and important people going, oh, yeah, he's with me and I'll sort him out, went to his head.
Yeah, I reckon, yeah.
So, in 1605, he had to flee again. He had to flee Rome.
Flee Rome?
Yeah.
Blimey.
Until the furore died down and came back after a few weeks.
I am not in Rome. I am in a rush.
But he had to leave because he got in a fight, I'm surprised, with a man named, here we go, Mariano Pascaloni di Accumoli, in a fight over one of Caravaggio's models named Lena, probably his lover. And Caravaggio attacked this man with a sword, giving him quite a bad head injury. So he basically had to flee because of this assault, but because of his big mates in Rome, they sort of said, leave it.
But he's gone now. Problem's over.
They covered it. They sort of gathered around and said, let's put this away. Let's get rid of this problem so that he could come back to Rome, basically.
You can continue with this case pressed against him, or you can drop it and everything will be fine. But if you continue, things might not be good for you.
We're He'll knock you off a drawing. So he came back to Rome. He got in a tussle with his landlady because he'd left and he hadn't paid any.
Yeah.
So he got in a fight.
I had to flee.
Yeah. I'm not paying you rent for when I'm not here.
But she wanted to sue him, and he basically just threw rocks at her until she said, "All right, it's fine, don't worry about it."
I must do that.
He just
I think I might start doing that.
He just said, "You haven't paid me rent." So he went, right.
Didn't he also wipe her front door down with feces?
Yes. Oh, yeah. We haven't mentioned that. He was good at smearing feces on people.
Whose?
We assume it's his because it's readily available.
I mean, did he go to the toilet and bring it with him? Or did he
just carried some around? Did
he squat on the front step? Yeah. What are you doing?
Just coil out a fresh one.
Mick, what are you doing?
Pay your rent. Oh, hang on a minute. Wait. Wait. What are you doing? Just wait. I'll come back in 5
minutes. Give it 10 minutes.
So, 29th of May, 1606, there is a murder.
Yeah.
Caravaggio actually did definitely kill Ranuccio Tomassoni. I believe it was at a tennis match. He did like the tennis. He would go from ball court to ball court, as we established.
Possibly the most violent tennis game ever.
With swords.
It was out.
You cannot be serious! That ball was on the line!
No, it wasn't.
Now, Tomassoni was a gangster, rich gangster.
And pimp.
And allegedly they got in an argument about one of Caravaggio's models / lovers who may well have been pimped by Tomassoni. You know, we don't really know for 100%. But
or it could have been over Tomassoni's wife as well, who Caravaggio had a bit of a thing for.
Yeah.
So there's plenty between them to argue about.
Right.
Yeah, they were constantly arguing anyway, often fighting.
Yeah.
And now it came to blows. But it's about a woman or women.
Yep. And all money.
And all money and all general contempt for one another.
Yep.
Over a game of tennis. And so it might have been a duel. It might have been just a fight. They were armed. But it's also suggested that Caravaggio might not have meant to kill Tomassoni. He might just have meant to cut off his penis.
Yeah.
Well, castration was quite a common attack.
Particularly in regard to arguments of a sexual nature.
So he cut his knob off and then...
Well, they were wearing...
To emasculate him rather than...
Yeah. I keep forgetting. I was thinking that they were all wearing togas. It'd be easier to get to.
In Rome, but they are a bit later.
Yeah.
But with a vigorous sword strike could quite happily cut the femoral artery in the thigh, you know.
Yeah, sure. What happened? He attempted that. I know, but how did he just... Hang on, it's unlicensed. That's even worse.
Add that to the charges.
It's unlicensed.
He's murdered a man. Oh, that's terrible.
I'm sure we'll be able to get it.
What?
I'm sure we'll be able to get it. Hang on. It's got no certificate.
I'll let the murder go. The licensing. Don't know.
Oh dear. So was that furore went even
that was a
higher?
It was the talk of Rome, this incident. And again, it was arguments about what it was about. Was it about Tomassoni's wife? Was it about a prostitute model /
This is all whilst playing tennis.
No. After the inverted commas tennis match, people were saying, "Oh, this is what happened, and this was about." It's all rumour mills. This wasn't widely published. Some people were saying it was political because Caravaggio was doing work for the French ambassador in Rome. Tomassoni, the gangsters were pro-Spanish.
Yeah, right.
There's a whole.
He would have just been doing work for people. He would have said yes to anyone, wouldn't he? I don't think he would have cared.
Arguably.
I'm talking about Caravaggio.
You got coin? I'll give you pay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I can put some onions in it.
Yeah.
Whatever you want. Laurel.
Onions.
I could do a head on a plate.
Trust me, I started with fruit. You've got no problem at all.
You want less apples, more onions? Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's all right. I can make them white. No one knows it.
I'm well good at it. You want more stripy tops, less togas? Yeah, fine. No problems.
Anything you want. You want it, you got it.
Now Caravaggio is wanted for murder. Now he's got all these wealthy patrons who can all rally round and go, oi, calm down.
But they've done loads. Over the years, they've done loads of that.
Yeah. But the problem is that Tomassoni is not
has also got
big
mates.
He's got big mates. And,
of course he has, Lawyers.
Yeah.
Lawyers.
He's Billy Big Bollocks as well.
Lawyers? Yeah. I'm putting my two fists together to denote a high-level clash.
High-level clash?
Yeah.
So Caravaggio has to flee again and go into exile.
Where's that?
Southern tip of Italy.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Sounds lovely.
So he fled to Naples. He is in absentia. He is sentenced to beheading for murder.
Wow.
And there's an open bounty put on his head, which basically means
anyone
you find him, cut his head off.
Anyone?
Yeah, anyone.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. How can you go into exile in the country that you're...
Oh, because this is pre-unification.
So Italy was not Italy?
It's not Italy, it's Rome. It's city-states.
Yes,
So
right,
Rome
okay.
is a country of itself. Naples is a country. Venice is a country.
Right, yeah, okay. So he went to Naples with a bounty on his head.
It's got a bounty on his head.
But hang on, does Naples law...
No.
Does the ruling
it would be
behead him?
It would only be legit in Rome.
In Rome, yeah,
Right.
okay.
It's just once you leave, then you're in.
So if he sets foot in Rome again,
I'll just leave then. Curses.
Just go out.
I'm in. Behead.
Just don't stick your head over the border.
Yeah, exactly. Only your finger.
And it is from this point
Yeah.
that all of his paintings suddenly, obsessively, have beheadings in them. And often he painted his own head, his own face on the beheaded head. Is that him cocking a snook at the authorities?
Presumably it is.
Yeah, see, you want my head?
I think
There
he
you go.
kind of.
That's what it looks like.
I think he gets a little bit scared in the year or so following that as well, because this is a very visual explanation, unfortunately. But if you look at, say, that painting,
Brilliant.
That painting.
That painting.
It is a Caravaggio.
that is Supper at Emmaus, which is when the strangers find Jesus after he's been crucified, and they don't know who he is, and they just take him into an inn to give him a meal.
Right.
And
to a corpse.
So they don't know who he is, and then he's blessing the bread. He's giving the blessing of the bread, and they suddenly realise that he's Jesus Christ,
It's Jesus.
alive again.
Jesus Christ.
Get some more bread.
Yes.
And this is the original one that he paints, which is really dramatic. And if you ever see it, it's quite a large painting, quite dramatic. And the hands and arms, it's particularly the man on the far right who's a beggar. He's got his pauper's shell on his waistcoat. His hand is almost coming out of the canvas at you. It really feels...
Yep.
Yeah.
It's very visual, very dramatic.
Very animated.
He repaints this in the year following his flee from the murder. And it is a very different painting.
Oh, yeah,
that
totally
physical
isn't it?
drama is completely gone.
And the colour is...
It's a lot more sombre.
Yeah, it's much more
colour
sombre,
is
very grey, desaturated. It's not about drama of action anymore, just simply the drama of what is really happening. And it's a very quiet painting. There's no rich coloured robes, there's no fancy decor or bread. Or
There's no colour. Yeah. Rubbish food.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was plentiful.
Yeah.
Are you saying it was affecting his
I think
psyche?
I think it'd be tough not to have affected him, really. I mean, although he was he was all about him.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Paint your misery.
So he has fled to Naples.
Yes.
He then continues his flight. He can't go back to Rome. He goes to Malta and he goes on to Sicily.
I'll go from city to city.
He'll do some commissions, do some painting, and he's staying with friends. He's as famous as ever, if not more so now that he's wanted in Rome.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And then after 9 months in Sicily, he goes back to Naples, where in October 1609 there is a violent fight, possibly an attempt on his life. Although obviously he did get into fights, so it's not even possible that he's died.
Yeah.
It's considered that it was probably people on commission, if you like.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So he gets into this fight and he's seriously disfigured in this fight.
Is he?
Yeah. And in Rome, everyone hears that he's dead. He wasn't dead, but he did come out quite badly from this attack. So he hopes to leverage this for a return to Rome, as though he's been punished.
Oh, yeah.
To sort of get
Well, hang on. Wasn't the order to behead him? I was nearly beheaded. Can I come home?
But he's also put up loads of great works of art since then, and it's basically he's trying to get the Pope and his rich supportive friends to sort of argue that, look,
he's done his time.
You've had a go.
He's paid penance.
Yeah,
you've had your fun.
Come on. All right, lads, you got me. Come on. So it's better
Can I have
for
your
the world
glasses?
if I'm alive and painting my paintings,
doing my stuff.
I'm not going to be shagging anybody's wife with these features, am I? Lay off.
It was quite bad.
He was quite badly disfigured, yeah. So he gets encouraging news that says that he might be able to go back to Rome.
Right.
Unfortunately, over the summer of this year, 1610 now, he contracts a fever, and although he is heading back to Rome, by July, when he's on a boat heading back to Rome, hopefully to receive a pardon for the murder of Tomasoni, he dies.
Oh, right. He just dies from this fever.
Or possibly he was assassinated.
By bacteria. Right, okay. He was found in little pieces.
At the time of his death, and in accounts since, it's been thought that he died of maybe malaria, maybe brucellosis from dairy products, or possibly syphilis, or it might have been poisoned by enemies from Rome.
Yeah.
In 2010, there was some archaeologists were using DNA comparison on some bodies that they found, and they believed they identified Caravaggio's remains. And some of the tests suggested it might have been lead poisoning.
There was a lot of lead found in his body.
Yes.
One of the reasons it's banned today.
He died from actually having lead in his pencil.
There was also some other research that said that it might have been sepsis from a wound of a fight that he was while in Naples. The Vatican, a few years before, had released information saying that Tomasoni had killed him as a vendetta. But
that's a kind of obvious one, really, isn't it? Years and years and years and years.
Yeah, since he was a child, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it explains his violent behaviour.
And it did it in.
Because, he'd have been exposed to to very fine lead powders, or lead oxide.
Are we talking about breathing it in?
Yeah, he would have as well. But he would have had it on his skin,
through
and probably in his mouth. His painting style is quite expressive.
Don't you? Yeah.
Tiny little bit.
Loads of that.
Bring your brush to a point.
Yeah. It's a bit sad.
Yeah.
That it might have been that.
Yeah, and mineral spirits as well. He would have had a great exposure to mineral spirits.
But the other side of the coin, of course, is would he have been such a great dramatic artist if he hadn't had the same...
Yeah.
He would? Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, you heard it.
Definitely.
That's been confirmed.
Would he have been?
He'd have been he would have. Hummus eating, kombucha drinking.
You could say...
very, very calm-spirited.
Oh, yeah, I suppose you're right.
If he wasn't so...
you could compare it to, I don't know, a musician, Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
Would he have been the same if he just had popcorn and water as opposed to tons of drugs?
Yeah.
I mean, he would still have been a brilliant guitarist, but he wouldn't have been the same.
He would have been James Blunt.
Yeah, so therefore, Caravaggio would have been a brilliant artist, but it wouldn't have been the same, would it? It would have been just slightly more cloudy.
Very good.
It would have been more cloudy.
But he might not have been a timeless genius. There was a film by Derek Jarman, 1986.
Oh, yes.
It's exceptionally Jarman-esque.
Caravaggio. And there's another movie in 2022 called L'Ombra di Caravaggio, Italian-French.
Okay.
I know nothing of this.
No, I don't know anything about that one.
I think that was the one that you would have watched.
No, see, I've seen the Jarman one.
Right.
And I liked it. I mean, it's very Jarman. It's very kind of poetic and sort of kind of self-congratulatory.
And gay.
And gay. Very gay.
But
I went to Dungeness quite a few years ago on a college
school trip.
College trip.
Oh.
Yeah. And a bloke, a kid, I was with knocked on Derek Jarman's house because he lived in Dungeness.
Mm-hmm.
And he just opened the door and he went, yeah. And he went, yeah, come in. And then he just let him in and he had a cup of tea with Derek Jarman. We're all going, what are we doing? And it was only him who did it. He just knocked on and said, I don't know, I like your work. And he went, oh, do come in. And he went in for half an hour and had a cup of tea. While we're all sitting on the beach going, where is he?
So his friend, the poet Marzio Milesi, wrote his epitaph, which reads, Michelangelo Medici, son of Fermo di Caravaggio, in painting not equal to a painter, but to nature itself. died in Port Ercole, betaking himself hither from Naples, returning to Rome, 15th calendar of August in the year of our Lord 1610. He lived 36 years, 9 months and 20 days.
Was he only 36?
Yeah. Marzio Milesi, jurisconsult, dedicated this to a friend of extraordinary genius.
How on earth did he get all that work done in 36 years?
Started early.
16 years. He was an apprentice at 20.
Yeah, that's true.
Started early. Did a lot of painting.
He was mad as a goose and painted like a lunatic.
He really did burn that candle at both ends, didn't he?
He did.
And in the middle.
Before the introduction of the euro, the 100,000 lira banknote depicted him.
Was he on it?
He was on it.
Excellent.
And his basket of fruit.
Yeah, good, yeah.
Which is a painting, not just him and a basket.
Was there any onions?
Oh, sorry, yeah. The basket of fruit. Yeah, sorry.
No onions.
Not him holding a basket of fruit.
Hey, as if to say, you see?
Tomato.
That's all for this time. If you want to know more about what we've talked about in this episode, Google it or something. You can listen to all of our previous episodes on our website, truecrimediary.co.uk. Please leave a review on your podcast provider if you can, or you can send an email to truecrimediarypodcast@gmail.com. My thanks to Jid and Roo and to all of you for listening, and we'll see you again on the next date in our True Crime Diary.
Banana.